Before we get started, let me know what comics you'd like for me to make a video on. Sound off in the comments. And if this is your first time checking out my channel, consider clicking subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers and tap the bell so you know when I post up. What's up, YouTubers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear, and I'm here to finish up something that I started a while back, and I know I feel like I have a lot of things like that. But today we are going to be finishing up Superman Rebirth Volume 1, Before Truth. This one's probably going to be a little bit shorter because we did break this into halves, which was a little bit before I figured out how to really milk the story and get it all out in a shorter frame of time, so hopefully it'll be shorter. We'll see what happens. So when last we left off on this story, Jonathan Kent reached his boiling point with Eradicator and was preparing to go for Eradicator's throat, and when we pick back up, that's exactly what happens. While Supes is trading punches with this new version of the Eradicator, Jonathan comes in and they both hit Eradicator so hard, his head explodes open and unleashes the lost souls of Krypton that he held within himself. All of Krypton's dead, trapped within its body, set loose on the Earth, leading Superman back to Metropolis, and those souls even begin possessing the citizens. Clark tries to take them all on, but becomes overwhelmed until he sees a familiar face, Pa Kent, who offers words of encouragement, and somehow that helps Clark figure out how to just accept the lost souls, and this opens a way for him to be able to communicate with them. But the Eradicator, he ain't got time for that. It's been a while, so I want to make sure we remember that the Eradicator wants to fix the Kryptonian extinction. He wants to revive their culture, and Superman is the only way. But he can't abide the abomination that is Jonathan Kent. A half-human, half-Kryptonian hybrid is impure and thus corrupted, and the human part of him must be destroyed. Not only that, but he wants the lost souls of Krypton back, and with them free from his grasp, he will stop at nothing to get them back. And with the Kents on the run, victory is well within his reach. Fortunately for the Kent family, the lost souls don't want to go back and have made peace with their deaths. They know that the future lies in Krypton's sons, Clark and Jonathan. Human hybrid be damned, and they decide to sacrifice themselves for the greater good and cause a massive explosion that sends Eradicator crashing down to the harbor below, just as he was about to get the upper hand. This buys Supes the time he needs, and he gets Lois and Jonathan into a submersible and flies them somewhere Eradicator can't do as much damage, and they can have the fight that Eradicator wants so badly on the dark side of the moon. But before this battle can take place, Superman wants his family to be safe as well, and takes them to a place on the moon that no one else knows about, a secret bat cave built into the moon, a lunar cave. Something Superman discovered when he decided to follow Batman around the same way Batman had been following him. As fun as this part is, one knock on this book comes when Jonathan asks the simple question that we always ask whenever a superhero on a superhero team doesn't ask his teammates for help when the chips are down. Superman just remarks that it's a Kryptonian matter and doesn't want to get them involved. Technically, he also doesn't want them involved because he doesn't want them to scrutinize his son or mistrust him, which, let's be fair, Batman already does anyway. But Lois does step up and say the thing that we've been waiting to hear since Lois and Clark, that Jonathan is tough and is war ready, that the more they overprotect him, the more they're doing him a disservice, and it's true. But they don't get to muse over this for long because Eradicator has one job: eradicating, and he's far from out of the picture, seeing as how that explosion only refueled him with power. Superman tries to keep him from Jonathan, but Eradicator keeps coming back for more, remarking that his love for Jonathan will kill him, and that he's become soft, not fighting with the full force of his power for fear that he'll harm the Kryptonian souls still inside of his enemy, all before eradicating Superman himself. This causes Jonathan to unleash his power, blasting Eradicator with a beam of heat vision as he tries to put distance between them. All the while, Lois has been knocked away as if she didn't matter. A mistake the Eradicator will soon regret. With Superman gone and Lois incapable of stopping him, he corners Jonathan and begins to eradicate him. Now, we gotta think back to where we were, because when he knocked Lois aside, this is where his mistake actually came into play. He knocked her next to some crates that had some wonderful toys inside them. And then Lois, in full Hellbat armor, comes in like Ripley from Aliens and snatches Eradicator up by his molten arm and begins beating the brakes off him. Lois and Jonathan team up and start stomping a mud hole in the Eradicator, but it's far from over, as Eradicator reminds them he still has the power of Krypton's dead and the living Superman at his disposal, and grips both Lois and Jonathan by their throats and prepares to eradicate them. And once again, before full eradication can commence, things get interrupted when Superman returns, thanks to taking on the spirits of the dead Kryptonians inside the Eradicator, and uses their power to start the final battle. From here on, they fight it out tooth and nail, matching each other blow for blow, and the longer the fight goes, the more Eradicator's form keeps changing, becoming more monstrous and alien, with every molecule in the Eradicator doing everything it can to fight back. Only it's not against Superman, it's Krypto. As Superman pulls him from Eradicator's body, Krypto has been fighting back this entire time, and finally, he's free. And it's here that they both go ham on the Eradicator. With patented Superman punches and Krypto's heat vision, they mushroom cloud his ass on the surface of the moon, leaving Eradicator at 0 power level. All the while, the Eradicator exclaiming that Jonathan will be the end of House Elle, and that his life will destroy any chance of the House of Elle's return. Even asking Superman if the cold and loneliness he feels now, having lost Krypton's dead, is what he feels. To which Superman says with conviction, he's never felt alone, leaving Krypto to keep him in place. Superman makes his presence to the world more official by showing his face via satellites that have been observing them since the rumbling on the moon and the explosion that had just taken place, even getting a key to the city when he returns. Meanwhile, Lois and Jonathan share some tender moments, letting us know that Jonathan's days as a superhero have only just begun, and maybe Lois just might have kept a souvenir from her time as Batmom. But once again, it's not over. Clark comes home from saving the world and being worshipped by fans and admirers the world over, and brings his kid something that's really symbolic of Jonathan's journey going forward. He brings him a pair of glasses, not unlike his own, to help Quotey Fingers disguise him now that people in Metropolis are asking questions about a certain boy that was helping Superman out, displaying similar powers. And despite the fact that Jonathan's not crazy about secrets, he lets him know that secrets are part of the job, and that from now on, it's truth, justice, and family. That the S on his chest is going to mean something, and he wants to help him make it his own. And that there's one thing that he should have done right from the jump that he just didn't have the guts to do. He tells him that the best part about putting on those glasses is what happens when you take them off. And he takes him out under cover of night to the Justice League watchtower, while Bruce and Diana are musing over the destruction at the Lunar Cave. And Superman says, I totally intend to fix it. To which Batman simply says, I'm rich. I have more than enough money to make the repairs happen. But Superman says, look, we take care of the things that we break. Wonder Woman and Batman look at him somewhat confused as to the we. Superman introduces Batman and Wonder Woman to his protege, his son, Superboy. And this right here is roughly about where it is. There's technically an issue shortly after this that is really just kind of more of a side. It's something that DC does a lot with their comics. Like once they finish up a story arc, they usually have an issue or two where there's something going on that is kind of just kind of out in the weeds, just kind of a nice little story to kind of give you that, you know, a feel of a slice of life and, you know, what's going on with the superhero outside of the crazy shenanigans that they're involved in. But I didn't want to go into it because, I mean, it's really just nothing there. It's just a fun little story, and I'll save that one for you to read for yourself. But yeah, so I gotta admit, as it stands right now, Superman Rebirth has really turned around my thoughts on Superman going forward. Now, I still stand firmly by my thoughts about New 52 Superman. While he does have some high points, he has more low points for me than anything else. But I do rather enjoy post-Crisis Superman being back in the DCU. It's a very refreshing thing to see. All that being said, I did thoroughly enjoy this volume. Superman right now is one of the better books in DC Rebirth right now. I do plan to do a few more of these, and, you know, like I said, we're going to be getting into Super Sons here pretty soon. The next volume will really get us into that. But anyways, let me know what you thought about Superman Volume 1 Before Truth. Sound off in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, and if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers and tap the bell so you know when I post up. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you all next time. Plus Ultra!